So we're looking at what might be one of the most simultaneously underrated and overrated players in the history of basketball. I obviously talked about Jalen Brunson yesterday, who stunk it up immediately after I made that video. Jalen Brunson, again, we've seen it with small guards. He's had his Isaiah Thomas year. He's gonna, if he doesn't get hurt, he'll be a 4-time All-Star in his career. Hell of a career, be a max contract guy at his next contract, but he's not a top 10 player in the NBA, let's be real. And this guy is, I think, at a very similar level to a Jalen Brunson. But the thing is that I think front offices probably value this guy higher than Brunson, but NBA players believe he is not only the most overrated player in the entire NBA, but he is only the 6th best defender in the NBA. And that is Rudy Gobert. Lads, Rudy Gobert is not the 6th best defender in the NBA. At the same time, Anthony Davis was not in the top 20 according to NBA players, which is wild from this NBA players poll in The Athletic. Like, sorry, not top 20, top 15. Like, Anthony Davis legitimately, like, I don't think he's a top 5 defender in the NBA. I think AD overrates himself on defense. If you guys just watch the playoff series, like, yeah, he has the ability to defend 1-on-5. When he wants to be, he's the best defender. He doesn't get back on defense a lot. His positional sense may not be the greatest as a help side defender, but at the same time, he's still a better defender than Jaylen Brown, who the NBA player said is a better defender than Anthony Davis. Still, Rudy Gobert has become like just the most hated basketball player amongst NBA players, and I just don't get it. Like, is he just not likable? Is it because he cried that one time he didn't make an All-Star team? Is it because he put his hand on a microphone and just did it at the worst possible time and the pandemic started? I don't think he was the first person to get it. It was just that he happened to be one of the first few people to get COVID. And it basically shut down the NBA season. But like, even if he didn't do all that stuff, the NBA season was shutting down at that exact moment. But he got blamed for it. Either way, I don't know. He's a hell of a player. Like 13% of polled NBA players believe he's the most overrated player in the NBA. 13% believe he's the most overrated player in the NBA. And that is like that is from like people saying that he sucks. Like, Rudy Gobert has been synonymous with winning. Like, wherever Rudy Gobert goes, he makes his team better. And there's actually not that many players in the NBA that you can say you can put them on a fringe playoff team and turn them into borderline contenders. Is Rudy Gobert a center that's probably going to win a ring? No, because he commands too much money from the salary cap. That's basically the only reason why. He commands too much money on the salary cap for his like level, but he's also not the worst player in his salary bracket. And he also he's a positive. Every time he's on the floor, pretty much, he's going to be a net positive for your team. He's going to be a net positive player to have in your team, which again, not a lot of players are. And again, second in the overrated is Jordan Poole. I don't even think Jordan Poole is overrated. I don't think people rate him that highly. Like, I'm looking at this right now, and it's like James Harden is number 5. Bradley Beal, that's a guy who I think is overrated. People thought he was going to move the needle, and in fact, he made the Suns worse. He's a guy that I consider overrated. But still, like, oh, it's just one of those things where you're like, he's unlikable. So you're now seeing a situation where where Rudy Gobert is, anytime there's a negative award to give out, they'll give to Rudy Gobert. And the fact that they can't even respect him and say he's one of the top 5 defenders in the NBA. And do I think Wemby's a better defender than him right now? No. I think he will be. I don't think he is. I know he had the crazy steals and blocks. I'd probably give him the Defense Player of the Year, because Rudy Gobert does not deserve to be in the Kemba Mutombo Ben Wallace category for defense, but he's been the best rim-protecting big the NBA has seen in the last decade. He's been one of the few rim-protecting bigs that actually is a net positive on defense. For example, Hassan Whiteside was a shot-blocking rim-protecting big who was a net negative on defense because he didn't put in any effort outside of that. Rudy Gobert struggles guarding the perimeter on a switch and a pick and roll, but he's still the best rim protector. He's still one of the 3 or 4 players in the NBA that actually alters how people go to the rim. Is he the greatest offensive player in the world? No, but he's efficient. He shoots a high percentage. He doesn't do dumb stuff on the floor. He's not really going to be a net negative. It's just that he's a max contract player because the Utah Jazz couldn't afford to let him walk. I don't think a team would have been desperate enough to pay the max if Utah didn't. So that's the only reason he's a max contract player. He's one of the 4 best center. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head at the center position. Who's better than him? Like, right now, Wemby's not, but Wemby will be. So let's just say Wemby's one of them. Wemby, Embiid. No, he's not one of the 4 best centers. I was like, Wemby, Embiid, Jokic. What's his name? Bam Adebayo's better than Rudy Gobert. They're different. There's a different type. They play defense differently. I think you can argue Bam's a better defender than Rudy Gobert, but they're different types of centers and they both suit different teams. But he's in that top 5 center conversation. So can we stop? Just because we don't like the guy, just because he's unlikable doesn't mean that he's as bad as people want to make him out to be. There's a reason why Minnesota gave up all those picks. And heck, there's a reason why you can argue, especially if Gobert plays for like 4 more years. Let's just say Gobert plays 4 more years at a similar rate that he is right now. He may not. The Timberwolves probably won that trade because they likely make at least 1 conference finals during that time. And if they make 1 conference finals in that spell, the trade has been a success. Because the Minnesota Timberwolves have not made a conference finals since 2004. And they were not going to make it without the trade. At the same time, Utah got a hell of a lot more for Donovan Mitchell, even though it looked like they got a little bit less with some of the picks. But nah, Minnesota are going to be good. Rudy Gobert is a hell of a player.